We are gathered here today to sip some tea, honey, so make sure you guys have your teacups ready because this tea is what? Piping hot. Hey you guys, it's your girl T. So I wanted to come on here like I told you guys I would and do an update on the whole Ariana Grande concert bombing that took place on Monday out there in Manchester, UK. So the whole situation has just been crazy. I've been definitely keeping up with it. As of yesterday, they had found out who the suicide bomber was. His name is Salman Abedi. They're saying that he was born in the UK, but his family was from Libya. And basically, he strapped all the explosives to himself. Right now, they're saying that he has a possible connection to ISIS. They're saying that his plan was to go to this concert and hurt as many people as possible as he blew himself up. Also, the victims, all of their names have been released as well. They've all been identified. The youngest victim was an 8-year-old girl. Her name is Safi Rose Russos. So she died because of this attack. And then there was also another young girl. Her name was Georgina Collender. And basically she was an Ariana Grande super fan. And just 2 years ago, she had posted on her Instagram page a picture with her getting a chance to meet Ariana Grande. So I just found it super ironic that in less than, 2 years later, she ends up being killed at an Ariana Grande concert. I mean, the irony in that is just sad in itself. Also, yesterday, what also happened is that the first pictures of Ariana Grande hit the net. She was traveling on her private jet back to Florida, and Mac Miller met her, and, the paparazzi were there, and she definitely looked really sad and solemn. She also took to social media, and she also sent out the following tweet right here. So basically she's saying her heart is heavy. She doesn't really have a lot to say, but of course, I'm sure she feels, just horrible about the situation as well. Now, the breaking news for today is that they've arrested 3 suspects that are tied to this suicide bomber. So I want to go ahead and play you guys these news clips really quick. Go ahead and check this out, and I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
Let's go to our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, for breaking new details about the bomber. Good morning, Brian.
Well, good morning, Robin. Senior British officials this morning are saying Salman Abedi likely did not act alone, with French officials adding the bomber had proven links to ISIS and had traveled recently to Syria. London newspapers have now published photos of the man they say was the bomber, 22-year-old Salman Abedi, born in Britain to parents from Libya. In the frantic search to see if others were involved with him, police blew open the door of his Manchester home, looking for evidence of any kind, including his phone and computer. Among the items removed, a book entitled Know Your Chemicals. Authorities also want to know if Abedi used videos posted by ISIS this year with instructions on how to build a lethal suicide bomb. There is an active ISIS presence in Libya, and U.S. authorities believe Abedi may have traveled there 2 years ago at a time he dropped out of college. At one point, Abedi was on the radar of British intelligence as a possible terror threat, one of thousands of young men under suspicion.
Every day, MI5 is having to make a call on who are the most dangerous, who is it that they fear are going to be operational terrorists looking to carry out attacks. And of course, they're not going to get it right every time.
The Manchester neighborhood where Abedi lived, around an area called Moss Side, just a few miles from the concert arena, is considered by police to be a hotbed of ISIS recruitment.
Moss Side is very well known. A lot of people with petty criminal pasts, involvement in gangs, getting involved instead with ISIS later on.
Manchester police have actually been planning for a terrorist attack. This training exercise was held just last year at a Manchester shopping mall to help police prepare their response to a suicide bombing on a crowded, soft target. Key details could come today about the nature of the plot based on what analysts discover about the bomb and how it was built. Did the terrorist mean to blow himself up, or did it happen accidentally? It's also unclear how many died from the blast itself or were killed in the panic caused by the terrorist bomb. George.
Okay, Brian, thanks very much, sir.
Welcome back to a special edition of Nightline as we're learning key details about the suspect in the attack on the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester, England. The question tonight, did he act alone? Here's ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross.
The London tabloid The Sun published the first picture tonight of the man it said was the bomber, 22-year-old Salman Abedi, born in Britain to parents from Libya. Tuesday, in the frantic search to see if others were involved with him, police blew open the door of his Manchester home, looking for evidence including his phone and computer. Among the items officers removed, a book entitled Know Your Chemicals.
The critical line of inquiry for us is looking at whether the dead terrorist was acting alone or as part of a group.
Authorities also want to know if Abedi used videos posted by ISIS this year with instructions on how to build a lethal suicide bomb.
I think the use of a bomb here, as opposed to a car or a knife, demonstrates a much higher degree of sophistication by this individual, really suggesting that he probably did not act alone, that he certainly had some advice on how to create the bomb.
There is a huge and active ISIS presence in Libya, and U.S. authorities believe Abedi may have recently traveled there. At one point, Abedi was on the radar of British intelligence as a possible terror threat, one of thousands of young men under such suspicion.
Abedi was a terrorist suspect in the UK. MI5 were aware of him. They were aware he posed a potential threat, but they didn't think he posed the imminent threat that he obviously proved himself to do in Manchester.
The Manchester neighborhood where Abedi lived, around an area called Moss Side, just a few miles from the concert arena, is considered by police to be a hotbed of ISIS recruitment.
Moss Side is very well known. A lot of people with petty criminal pasts, involvement in gangs, getting involved instead with ISIS later on.
Officers did take one man into custody Tuesday, identified by neighbors as the terrorist's older brother. But neighbors said there was nothing they saw in Abedi's devoutly religious family that would suggest any ties to terrorism.
No, of course not. No, there's no religion will condone, will say, killing people is right.
Manchester police have actually been planning for a terrorist attack. This training exercise was held just last year at a Manchester shopping mall to help police prepare their response to a suicide bombing on a crowded, soft target.
We've seen over the past that ISIS has targeted soft targets, bars, restaurants, sports stadiums, and now a concert. It really is a result of learning about how to create the most carnage possible.
It was less than a year ago on a crowded Saturday night at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida, when an ISIS-inspired gunman easily got past limited security and opened fire. 49 people died in the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. In Paris, ISIS orchestrated the attack on a soccer stadium and the Bataclan concert hall, where a popular American rock group was performing. More than 130 people were killed there, a perfect target for the terrorists.
These are targets that represent Western civilization, which they see as lascivious, which they see as counter to their very strict version of Islam.
Both ISIS and al-Qaeda have been posting new calls for their followers to attack large gatherings any way they can. Just 2 months ago, there was the attack with a driver mowing down pedestrians on the sidewalk of the Parliament Bridge in London. And last year, the truck attack in Nice, France on Bastille Day. Tonight,
oh my God.
Officials in Great Britain say the Manchester attack with a suicide bomb showed more planning and sophistication and evil.
Young teenage girls attending a concert, and they are now the target for an attack like this, really demonstrating how ruthless ISIS is.
For Nightline, Brian Ross, ABC
New images
News.
tonight reported to be the suicide bomber doing reconnaissance or perhaps buying supplies. CCTV cameras reportedly show him in a shopping center right next to the concert arena and wearing a backpack, the tags still on it. It appears to be the same backpack that 3 days later would carry a bomb. British officials identified the attacker as 22-year-old Salman Abedi, a college dropout whose relatives had warned authorities he was dangerous. British officials don't believe he was working alone.
I think it's very clear that this is a network that we are investigating.
Another sign of a network? The bomb. The New York Times obtained pictures of what's left of it, the now charred blue backpack, a powerful battery, and handheld trigger. U.S. intelligence officials don't believe it's the work of an amateur. It could be a family affair. British police arrested Abedi's brother yesterday. And today, Libyan officials said another brother was picked up in Tripoli for allegedly planning an ISIS attack there. ISIS claimed responsibility for Monday's attack, and there appear to be ISIS links. Abedi's acquaintances tell NBC News he was friends with a man named Raphael Hosti, a recruiter from Manchester listed in a trove of thousands of internal ISIS documents obtained and verified by NBC News a year ago. Hosti was reportedly killed in Syria. Now the search for accomplices still at large. At least 5 arrests today in multiple raids in the Manchester area. In one, security forces searched an apartment neighbors said was being used as an Airbnb.
And there's a high turnover in this Airbnb, in this flat that's being raided?
Yes. Yeah.
How often would you say?
Could be every 3 or 4 different groups a week sometimes.
British authorities are taking no chances, putting troops on the street, canceling the ever-popular changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace, and beefing up security at St. Paul's Cathedral, where the Queen attended a service. Her nation on its highest state of alert in a decade. U.S. and British officials believe Abedi had helped making the bomb, or that he might not have made it at all, but was simply a willing assassin carrying out a mission. So there may be a bomb maker on.
All right, so you guys just saw those news clips. So like I said, there's going to be more information coming down the pipeline, but I'm glad that they're taking this, you know, super serious. They have the terror alert out there on super high, and right now they're questioning anybody that they even suspect is behind this. You know, this whole situation is just super sad, and I know there's starting to be a lot of conspiracy videos and a lot of Illuminati stuff, and, you know, folks are putting on their tin hats, and, you know, there's been a lot of talk about things that Ariana Grande said in the past about her fans. So a lot of people are talking about that and, you know, trying to make different connections, and that's fine. You know, I'm down for a conspiracy. I'm always willing to look at other angles and other aspects, but let's not forget these people who went to do nothing more than go to a concert, who paid their money, who saved up their money, who begged their parents to let them go to this concert, and they didn't make it home. So for me, I feel like that should be the main focus, not so much, you know, blaming Ariana or, you know, saying what such and such didn't do or did do. You know, I'd rather focus on the victims, especially when you have a victim who's as young as 8 years old, who lost her life over nothing more than going to a concert. I find this whole situation just sickening, and it's really sad that in this day and age, you know, it's getting to the point where we're not going to be able to go out and enjoy public events, you know, go to the movie theater, go here, go there, without feeling like we're in Israel. Because in a minute what's going to happen is that they're going to have metal detectors and search bags and do all that stuff that, you know, that we don't want done. But eventually it's going to have to happen because it seems like the world is just getting worse and worse. I mean, Israel has been dealing with this since the 80s. You know, they pat you down everywhere. You can't even just go into like a local store without going through a metal detector and getting patted down and checked out, because bomb explosions and, you know, suicide bombers were so common over there. But now these same people seem to be common all over the world. And it's really scary because over the past few years, like the news media was just saying, we've had a lot of different terrorist attacks in different areas in different parts of the world. You know, we had the whole situation where that man plowed into people in Nice, France. You know, we had other bombings at different rock concerts and different events. And we have even what you would call terrorist events here in the U.S., you know, like the movie theater shooting that happened that time during the Dark Night. So I understand why people feel like, you know what, this is why I don't leave the house. This is why I don't want to go anywhere. And I see people writing that, but I also want you to realize that at the end of the day, you can't keep yourself trapped in the house because it'll just drive you crazy. At the end of the day, you still have to go out and enjoy life and meet people and realize that when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. You know, even though it's unfortunate, we never want to think about a child having to leave before their time. But obviously, you know, it was God's will. You know, but this whole situation is just insane. But I just think that people shouldn't let this frighten them so much that they never want to do anything. They just want to stay in the house and be a hermit. I think at the end of the day, you need to be around people and good friends and family and be comforted and talk about this. Don't just hold it in, but talk about it to people and let people know how you feel about this, because this is really disturbing. You know, I had a really good conversation with my boys yesterday about it. And, you know, I just think sometimes, especially when you have kids, you have to be able to talk to them about these situations, because a lot of times, you know, they're thinking certain things and they're worried, but they don't want to say anything. So sometimes things like this help to spark dialogue. But yeah, it's really, really sad. I mean, I feel really bad for all these children and the young people, you know, even some of the ones who are a little bit older who lost their lives doing nothing more than attending a concert. So anyways, y'all, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this updated story concerning the whole terroristic bombing at the Ariana Grande concert. How do you feel now that more information is coming out about the suicide bomber and then the fact that 3 more people were arrested today? So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right, deuces. Hey you guys, it's your girl T. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can also visit Lovelyti.com to purchase any merchandise. Also, don't forget to click the boxes down below to watch any of my previous videos. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.